What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Channel with me, Mike Zakarian, as we continue to break down the Boston Celtics in their NBA offseason. We are less than a month away from the first tip of the season, as it's going to be the 22nd against the Philadelphia 76ers. And we're just inching closer. We're getting so close to the start of the NBA season. We had some crazy news that dropped yesterday that might not seem like it impacts the Celtics, but we're going to put on our tinfoil hats, and I'll show you how. We'll also get into some of your comments from our most recent video, but do me a favor, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button as we get ready for the start of the season. And for you ASMR freaks out there, a little coffee sip, a congested coffee sip to start the show. Let's go. I also am so in my head now about breathing into the microphone. So thank you, QTRCX, whatever that comment was the other day, where now I'm trying to hold my breath the whole time. How dare you? How dare you? We had a brutal injury yesterday. Fred VanVleet in like one of those sometimes these teams will come together and do a thing. Remember Ubuntu? Doc Rivers, Kevin Garnett, they took the team overseas. They gelled before the season started. Houston was doing their similar thing in the Bahamas. Fred VanVleet tears his ACL. Now, I don't know how people feel about Fred VanVleet. Maybe you think he's past his prime, 32, whatever. But Fred VanVleet was the adult in the room for the Houston Rockets the last couple of seasons. You could include Dylan Brooks there as well. But Fred VanVleet was pretty important to that team, not only as a leader, but more importantly, as a shooter. If you remember the Houston Rockets, the biggest problem with them is no outside shooting. They had all of these freak athletes, Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr. They added Kevin Durant, which is some shooting as well. They got rid of Jalen Green. So now, when you look at their guards, this is what the Houston Rockets are left with. Fred VanVleet, no, you can't. You can't play anymore. He's out for the season. That's it. Reed Shepherd. They have Reed Shepherd still on the team, who, again, third overall pick, I believe it was. Was it third overall pick a couple of years ago? He's entering his second season, but barely played. And we know Ime Udoka. We know the Udoka stuff. If you don't play defense, you're not going to see the floor. That was the big knock against Reed Shepherd. Now, maybe he's given the keys here to start the season, and we get to see what we've got from Reed Shepherd, because you've got Reed Shepherd, and then you don't have Drew Holiday, you don't have Justin Holiday, but you do have Aaron Holiday, Aaron. They got Aaron Holiday, the third Holiday bro. Or I guess, is he the second Holiday bro now that he's still in the league and Justin's out the league? I don't know. But that's it. That's it for their guard position. Now, they saw Amen Thompson take a big leap in the postseason, the second half of the season, but in the postseason specifically, was kind of doing a little bit more ball handling. Maybe they give him a shot to play the one and be the starting point guard. But, I mean, even if Amen Thompson has developed a little bit as a shooter, that leaves them with KD and then I guess Jabari Smith Jr. Now, Houston could go with some freaky lineups, and I promise I will tie this into the Celtics here in a second. They could go into some freaky lineups and start like Amen Thompson at the one, Dorian Finney-Smith Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, who they got from the Lakers this offseason, at the two, that's a big-ass two. Then you have Jabari Smith Jr. or KD at the three and the four, and then Sengun at the five. They still have Tari Eason, they have Clint Capella, they've got Steven Adams, so they got a lot of big bodies, but no guards. The other problem that they're in is they're hard capped, I believe, right now, and over the first apron, they can't actually make any moves right now until December 15th. And that's the first move that, like, they can't, whether they get, like, disability on the on his salary, a little salary relief for the Fred VanVleet injury, whatever, they can't add another player. The only way they're going to be able to make a move is in December, and it'll have to be via trade. And that's where your boy Anthony Simons comes in. You knew. At some point we're going to do it. The reason I bring it up is because Simons makes a ton of sense. I don't think this will actually happen. I'm going to throw this out there now. I'm just going to tell you right now. I don't think this would happen because Simons, $27 million, right? I believe that's the number. And also, you guys can hear I'm still like battling the cough here. So at some point I'm going to cough in the next 2 minutes. This is a warning if that's the thing you hate. But Simons has $27 million. I don't even know financially how they would put some contracts together to make it happen. But one thing we should like keep in mind here is like Houston still has all of these picks from the Nets deals, from the Phoenix deals, right? Excuse me. Have all of these picks, but I just don't know if they have the salaries to do it. So I'm going to go ahead, pull up Spotrac here. We'll do a little trade machine action for you, and we can talk through some of these options. But I bring it up because we knew Jaylen Brown was rumored to make his way down to Houston at some point last season, or in the early offseason. There was rumblings about it. I don't think that's going to happen. But if we put Simons over there as an expiring contract to Houston, which again, I don't know if he makes sense for Ime Udoka either. We were talking about the defense being a problem. But again, they're just so desperate for shooting, some extra ball handling, and offensive facilitation that maybe Simons would make sense for them. Because the other issue that Houston runs into is, like, I wouldn't say they're like panic win now, but they're definitely trying to win now. You bring in somebody like Kevin Durant, who, by the way, has not been extended yet, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You're trying to win. You're trying to win right now. But anyways, that's $27 million. And if this can't happen until December 15th. So we'll take off some of the trade exception stuff. Maybe they throw in somebody like Steven Adams to Boston. It would have to be somebody like Steven Adams and like a Dorian Finney-Smith, which, again, I don't think they want to do that. It would have to be like those two guys. But then the Celtics, right? So this trade works right here. This trade works if it was Anthony Simons for Steven Adams and Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, Houston might be like, we need shooting that bad that we're going to rely on guys like Clint Capella as our backup big instead of Steven Adams. And then Jabari Smith Jr. and Tyrese, and welcome to the big leagues. You're going to have to play a little bit more. If they do something like that, the Celtics are like, wait, hold on. We're taking on Steven Adams money. We're taking on Dorian Finney-Smith money. Now, those are decent contracts. Like, they're not bad deals. But, like, why are we taking on this money? We'll have to throw in some picks in there as well. I do think Steven Adams is like a pretty good big once you get to the postseason, as we saw what he did to Golden State in that postseason. So I don't know. Excuse me. I don't anticipate this being something to go down. But I do think Houston is going to make a move because after not playing Reed Shepherd basically his entire rookie season, they're going to need to do something. Malik Monk was a name to pay attention to, but I imagine as we get closer to December, depending on how the Celtics get out the gates, you're going to see somebody like Anthony Simons get floated. Who knows? Maybe even Sam Hauser too. If they're just desperate for 3-point shooting and they don't really care, if they don't really care about the ball handling aspect of it. Let's see what a Sam Hauser deal would look like with the Celtics and Rockets if, again, they were just like, give me some shooting. The Simons deal, the Hauser deal, again, he makes $10 million this year, 34 combined over the next 3. You could probably get away with something a little bit cheaper there. I mean, Reed Shepherd for Sam Hauser. Who says no? Who says no? Tyrese Easton is an aspiring contract, maybe aspiration too. Expiring contract, but I imagine Houston is going to mess around with him. Sam Hauser, maybe it's just some like you get like Jeff Green and Aaron Holiday and then a pick or something like that back for Sam Hauser. But Houston's going to be a team to watch, man. It's a real bummer. Obviously I'm a Celtics fan, but you hate to see. Yeah, a team, I'm always a fan of teams, even if it feels like there's a juggernaut, right? You see OKC just kind of run wild last season. They've got this young core. They've got a clear path forward over the next, 5 or 6 years. And a lot of teams, we've seen this happen before during that Warriors run where they're like, you know what? Let's let this Warriors thing play out, and then we'll unleash the hounds or whatever and go for it in a couple of years. Houston was a team that was like, nah, bro, we're good. We're ready to go now. And then for them to be punished in this way just kind of sucks. So I hope for Fred to get a speedy recovery. Houston's going to be just a fascinating team to watch here down the stretch. There was some Tatum love. Very rarely do we see Tatum love in these streets. And I'm excited to share it. It was from Tim Bontemps from ESPN does these reports every couple of, or I think at the beginning of every offseason, about some, excuse me, guys, we're really battling the elements today. About some, from anonymous executives and sources, just to get a feel for a lay of the land as we head into the new season. And it was a great Tatum report from an anonymous Western Conference exec. I believe it's an assistant coach here. An anonymous Western Conference assistant coach says Jason Tatum will be the best player in the NBA in the year 2030. He goes on to say, there's no one that has that shot profile. He's what everyone wishes they have. A 6'10" guy who shoots threes, gets to the rim, and gets fouled. Now, 2030, we're 5 years away from now, so Tatum would be in his early 30s, right? And I think this is the assumption here that Giannis's back is officially broken down at this point. Maybe we see Nikola Jokic is out in Serbia just celebrating his horses, just turning it into like a big Budweiser commercial, like Christmas commercial. Just these big Clydesdales and Jokic just like running in slow motion in the mountains of Serbia. Um, but if that's the case, maybe you're starting to think, hey, Tatum could be the best player in 2030. I don't hate it. I'm fascinated to see what Tatum's game looks like when he comes back. I think I'm just so used to these Achilles injuries, like really taking a long time for players to come back and then just kind of stunting their athleticism a little bit at that point in their career. But for this to have happened as early as it did, for the recovery to start as quickly as it did, and for Tatum, it seems like, I mean, no joke. I mean, of course I'm blowing smoke because he's my guy, but it seems like he has taken this so seriously. No days off, has been like on the mend, and just the energy around him seems pretty positive. The way the Celtics training staff, way friends, other competitors have talked about his offseason, it sounds like Tatum is going to be ready to go. So I'm not this year, maybe at the end of the year, but not, you know what I mean. When he comes back from injury, he's going to be ready to go. I'm curious to see like how his game evolves, if he uses this time to add some wrinkles. I wonder if we see him turn into more of a, not more of a post player, but showcase a little bit more down low, a little more brute force stuff. I wonder if that kind of evolves in his game a little bit, or who knows, maybe he just turns into Larry Bird from the 3-point land. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for our guy JT. I'm ready for it. Let's talk a little bit about some extensions here, because I was listening to a little bit of the Zach Lowe show, and he had Sam Amick of The Athletic on, who I'm a big fan of. And they were talking about some of these players who are ready to get extended here soon. And it seems like the tenor around the league is that none of these guys are going to get the big time extensions. And like maybe we're seeing a pendulum shift in how much guys are getting paid because of this collective bargaining agreement. And everybody, Celtics fans included, were kind of pissed to see how the Celtics just lobbed off salaries, and both Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford couldn't come back, and Luke Cornett out the door. And I wonder if this was just the beginning of it, and we're going to see more of it. Trae Young was the name that was really highlighted there, where, like, what is Atlanta going to do? And we've talked about that at length, right? What does Atlanta do moving forward? And I think this year, and Trae, rightfully so, is like, hey, man, I've been here the whole time. Like, give me my bag. Give me my bag again. And Atlanta, I think, is saying, like, hey, man, we put a roster around you. Let's see what you can do this season. And then, hey, if we're able to successfully put together a little bit of a run here with the East wide open, here's your bag. But the one that I found most interesting was Karl Anthony Towns. And because I do think the Knicks, I feel like there's not a lot of talk about it right now, but I think there's a lot of pressure on New York. And I could see if the Knicks, have a similar situation, right, where they win 50-plus games in the regular season, which won't be as impressive with this Eastern Conference. If they win 50-plus regular season games and then somehow get bounced in the second round with this watered-down Eastern Conference, I think you're going to see some, like, we paid Brunson, we brought in Bridges, we got OG Anunoby, and I think Karl Anthony Towns, who's going to be due for an extension, will end up being the fall guy, and we'll see some conversation about Kathmandu finding a new home. So I think that's going to be something to really pay attention to. And then, like, as this happens, as the Celtics start to retool a little bit and get ready for more championship runs once Tatum's health is back, I wonder if the Celtics start, this is why they were making these moves right now, so they could be sharks swimming in the water ready to pounce if it was necessary. Lauri Markkanen, I think, is a name to watch. And he's already been extended, of course, right? That happened before the beginning of last season. But it seems like Utah is going to be ready to move off of him this season, by all accounts, by all reporting around the Salt Lake City land, that it seems like that's going to happen. So if that's the case, so you can see somebody like Lauri Markkanen get on the move soon. I think the Lakers are going to be a fun team to watch. There's like rumors that Austin Reeves could be signed in trade or extended in traded. You got Rui Hashimura over there as well. Kevin Durant, we were talking about Houston. He still is yet to be extended. So I just wonder if two things could happen. One side of it is stars are like, no, F this. You're not going to give me my money. I'm going to go somewhere else to get my money. The other thing we could see is that maybe this, like the whole how much we get paid a year just slowly comes down a little bit. And that if, like, KD's like, hey, I'll accept a little bit less money, or Cat's like, you know what, I want to just stay in New York, so I'll take a little bit less money. I really don't know how it's going to play out. It's kind of interesting that the CBA has just turned this into a way where owners don't have to spend money, and I'm just not a fan of, like, oh, let's help the billionaires out. Pass. pass. All right, let's get into some of your comments from yesterday's show. Oh my gosh, there weren't many comments. It was just, we got our guy NBA Update, dropped some shamrocks in there. We got Randy Savage 80, dropped some shamrocks in there. So listen, get involved in the comments. Just a reminder too, if we get up, I would say even if we get close to 3K subs in the next month, by the time we tip off this NBA season, we'll give away some Celtics tickets, all right? So get involved, and that's coming from your boy. All right, that's coming from me right here. So get involved so we can give away some Celtics tickets. We've got a very fun upcoming season here. We're getting real close. I just want to shout out to something else that I'm doing over on my personal channel, which is called the NBA Bit with Mike Zakarian. You might see me in the chat there, and you're like, who's this guy talking like he's the one talking in the video? It's me talking in the video. But over on the NBA Bit channel, we're doing a marathon show on the very first day of the season, October 21st. Celtics don't play that night. There's only 2 games on the first night, but it's Tuesday, October 21st. And from noon Eastern all the way to tip from the very first game, we are going to be live the whole time. No pauses, no break. Well, there'll be pause. No breaks, though. We've got fun guests coming from all different media outlets like The Athletic, The Ringer, possibly ESPN. I don't know why I put quotes around it. It would definitely be ESPN. But we got so many guests coming in. We'll have tons of giveaways. We're going to be talking some fantasy hoops. We're going to be talking just ball in general. So we're really looking forward to everybody coming and hanging out over that. Again, that'll be the 21st. It's an all-day event. And imagine, see, I sound like this because I'm unwell today. This is what I will sound like by like hour 4 anyways. So you'll be accustomed to the breathy tones of Mike Zakarian. But again, appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out. We're getting close. Oh, so close to the start of the NBA season. Hit the subscribe on the way out. We will see you next time.